Pleased to be joined now by Bleacher Report senior NBA writer Howard Beck. Wow, Howard, what a day. The Brooklyn Nets. I mean, how did this all come about?
Yeah, pretty wild and not entirely unexpected. There were a lot of indicators that this was going this way, and certainly all the noise about Kyrie Irving committing to the Nets a few weeks ago, I can tell you that was not just about Kyrie. Kevin Durant and Kyrie had been conferring throughout this process. And so while it wasn't entirely clear within the last couple of weeks, just that the Kyrie commitment was going to also bring along KD, I'm told that that's really what was happening, that KD, chances are, was always going to end up where Kyrie did, that those two had been talking, and the Nets were pretty high on their list because of what the Nets have built. If you look at what the Nets have versus, say, what the Knicks have, the Nets were a sixth seed in the East last year, ahead of schedule in their rebuild, some really nice young pieces. Trajectory was going the right direction, a strong front office, a now proven coach in Kenny Atkinson, and they established a foundation that was attractive to these two stars. And if we're contrasting that with what the Knicks had or didn't have, that was really the difference. The Knicks had no real foundation that they could lean on. They won 17 games last season. They don't appear to be, anywhere along in their rebuild, and their young guys have not developed to a point where if you're a star, you could rely on them as your teammates. And so it made sense for these guys to choose Brooklyn ultimately.
Well, it didn't make sense for the New York Knicks to offer Kevin Durant the max deal. That, according to James Dolan, the owner, not comfortable throwing that out there. Does that surprise you that he wasn't prepared to write that check for one of the biggest stars in free agent history?
I'll be very blunt. I don't believe that that's true. I'm not saying I'm doubting the reporting about it. I'm doubting that the Knicks are being truthful. Either they were prepared to offer the full amount and got turned down, and this is their way of spinning it to make it look a little less damaging, or let's say that they're actually telling the truth and weren't prepared to offer it. Well, then I would say shame on them, because every other team in the league that had any desire to get Kevin Durant knew that that's what it was going to take. And there's risk. There's clearly risk. But the idea that the Knicks weren't willing to take that risk after all the trouble they went to clear the cap room in the first place, I just don't buy it.
Hard to know with the New York Knicks. Much like Kawhi Leonard, hard to really know with him. So many rumors going around. Now that we've seen these other big dominoes fall, when and what will the news be on Kawhi Leonard?
I couldn't tell you. If I could, I'd be placing bets in Vegas, I guess. Kawhi Leonard obviously moves to the beat of his own drummer, and he moves on his own timeline. And listen, it's unusual. We need to remember it's unusual for there to be this much fireworks on June 30th, much less even July 1st, which was the traditional start of free agency. Kevin Durant, the last time he made a big decision like this in 2016, he did it on July 4th. So there's plenty of time for all of these guys to make their decisions. Kawhi Leonard hasn't decided yet. Jimmy Butler hasn't decided yet. There's a lot of dominoes still to fall here, and nothing so far to indicate, exactly what Kawhi's, his decision will be.
Well, we'll just wait and see. Howard, thanks so much. Appreciate the time. And let's be honest, it's 2019. If you're placing bets, you're doing it in New Jersey, not in Vegas.
My pleasure, and thanks.